Welcome back to That Dad Guy. It's November the 9th, 2023, and today we have a collaboration video between myself and Snail Mail with Smokey. So what we've done here in Stamp vs. Stamp episode 2 is I've asked Smokey 5 questions, and he's going to try to find answers with stamps, and he's done the same for me. So when you finish watching this video, go over to Snail Mail with Smokey's and watch him. Give him a little love too. Make sure you like, you subscribe, leave positive comments, and you share with other people about our 2 channels. We're not going to wait any longer. Let's get to the first question.
Rob, you do such a great job of promoting Canada, as well as your province of New Brunswick and your city of Moncton. So for the first stamp, I'd like you to find the one that best reminds you of home. Once again, it could be Canada, it could be New Brunswick, it could be Moncton, or maybe it's something completely different.
Oh, well, thank you, Smokey. I try to do my best to promote my area, whether it be my city, my province, my country. So to find a stamp that best reminds me of home, I've given it a lot of thought. This has been a great question and answer video to do it this way because it's really made me think. I looked to see, well, what best describes Moncton? Is there a stamp that showed Moncton? Maybe something that had Magnetic Hill on it. I found stamps that had the giant lobster in Shediac, the Confederation Bridge, the Bay of Fundy, the tides, the Hopewell Rocks. Stamps for all that. Maybe a stamp of New Brunswick went back before we were a country. There were stamps like that. The Acadian people, the Loyalist people. And then I found this stamp. This stamp came out on July 1st, 2000. I put this up here. It was a children's design contest that went off, and Christine Wera designed this particular stamp. It's Scott number 1861. It's a Canadian 46-cent stamp called Stamping the Future, and it's a map of Canada, as you can see, in a puzzle form. My father loves puzzles. Stamps and puzzles go hand in hand. And you can see that there are a diversity of children and people helping to put this puzzle together that is Canada. So what reminds me of home is the puzzle for my father, the stamp for my family, the map of Canada for our country, the diversity in our country, showing people working together, whether in wheelchairs, whether of different nations, ethnicities, religions. In a time like this when war is prevalent all around the world and there are infighting even within our own countries, I love this childlike interpretation of what's happening in our country and what should be happening, us all working together. So this is my selection of what reminds me of home, whether it be my household home or the home of my nation. July 1st, Canada Day, 2000. Thank you, Christine Wera, for this stamp.
I know that, like me, you enjoy history. So for the second stamp, I'm asking you to find the stamp that for you represents one of history's greatest moments.
You certainly are making this a challenge. You're right, we both love history, but what's one stamp shows the greatest moment in history? I've had trouble figuring out how I want to go about this. I don't want to go from an Anglo-Saxon point of view, from, history books are written by the winners generally, the ones that define themselves by the nation that they're in. I wanted an event that had a global significance, whether you were, whether race, religion, sexuality, none of them had a difference. This helped everyone. So many times I see stamps that are Christopher Columbus discovering North America. Great achievement, but people are already here. It had already been discovered. The Magna Carta, fantastic. The whole basis of English law. But there are a lot of other laws that are out there and other things that are performed. Is ours the greatest? I don't know. So I found this stamp. This is a Scott number C370 from Mali, and it had a face value of 200 francs. It's Sir Alexander Fleming, the person who discovered penicillin by accident, after all, in 1928. He went away on vacation. When he came back to his laboratory, he had found a mold growing on one of his bacteria samples, and it was keeping the bacteria at bay. Voila, by accident, penicillin discovered. And it's helped the world. It's changed the medical system. It has helped save people's lives that probably wouldn't have been saved before. And it doesn't discriminate against anyone. Penicillin is a wonderful thing. And it's a different country, a different stamp. Maybe you haven't even seen before. So, Sir Alexander Fleming, you changed history.
For the third challenge, what stamp best represents a memory from your childhood? It could be a place, an event, or even a person. It is entirely up to you.
It's funny you asked this question because as soon as you did, there's one stamp that jumped to mind, and I had to look through the books to find it. It's not about a place. It's not about a person. I mean, I guess it's about a place. It's from a country. It was a stamp that I saw in my father's collection when he first started to put it in his books. I don't know if he got it from an exchange student that they had coming to the house, if he bought it in a lot of stamps from, you know, sometimes you buy an international packet of stamps and there happens to be one in there. But it was this stamp, and I will show it big, but I want to show it where it is on the page first of all. It's a Chinese stamp that my father got. This one right here. I tried to look it up in the Scott catalog. He's got a number of 2689 for China. He's also got a page written at 1986. I looked at 1986 and I didn't see a 2689. I looked up 2689 in China and it didn't seem to correlate with that stamp, which shows a figure of what, 16 on it, or 1600 on it. So I'm not really sure. I'll put the stamp up here, and I know that some of you other philatelists out there will be able to find it, will be able to tell me exactly about it. But this stamp spoke to me when I saw it. It maybe gave me a love of Asian culture. I know I've always wanted to go to Asia, as in China or Japan or Vietnam or Thailand, and see the beautiful temples that are there, experience the traditional dress. I love the food. And this stamp with the images of China on it really spoke to me, and it still has, and it's just one of those stamps that sticks out to me to this day, you know, 30 years later after seeing it for the first time. And I don't know why, it just did. So that's my childhood stamp memory.
Now, as philatelists and post-crossers, we each enjoy these hobbies because we want to connect with people and we want to learn about different places and cultures around the world. So what stamp best represents to you the spirit of these two great hobbies?
They are great hobbies. Post-crossing and philately are fantastic ways of meeting people and exchanging cultures from around the world. Both communities are very tight-knit and so generous and helpful. When you said which stamp best represents both of them, one jumped to mind over any others. Even though I did go in and do some research, when you're talking post-crossing, you have to look at post-crossing stamps specifically. There are a few countries that have put them out, but one of them jumps out amongst all of them. And this one I got from Famous May from Brazil. And so there's the post-crossing stamp. I'm going to throw it up bigger so you can see it, but I want to show you the only copy I have of it. It was pen canceled when I got it on this card. It came out in 2020 in Brazil. I don't have a Scott number to go along with it because my Scott catalogs that I own came out in 2009. So I'm not that current to be able to show you exactly what it was, and I didn't go down to the library to check it out, but I know you'll be able to find it. These two children on it, or I guess not two children, but two post-crossers that are intertwined upside down, exchanging letters, best defines for me the idea of post-crossing, the hobby of post-crossing mixed with the hobby of stamp collecting or philately. So that is my choice, Brazil 2020 post-crossing stamp.
All right, we have arrived at number 5. So Rob, thank you so much for coming with me this far on the journey. Now for the 5th and final stamp, if you had to send one stamp and only one stamp to each of your friends, and that stamp had to describe you, which stamp would you send?
Which stamp best describes me that I would send to my friends? I first started looking at this and I started thinking of hearts and love, and those were more of emotions that I was thinking that I have between my friends, but not describing me personally. So I put those stamps aside. And then I started to think of what qualities do I have that I would send to friends. I don't think that's really what it was talking about. So I found a stamp that you're not going to find in any stamp catalog. You're not going to find it in the Scott catalog. There is no Scott number that goes along with this stamp per se. It is unique. Only my friends are ever going to get it. And it's this one here. Canada Post had a program where you could make your own stamp for a fee. So I've done it twice. Well, actually, I've done it 3 times. We did one for my parents at one of their wedding anniversaries. We created a stamp for them. One of those stamps exists. When I first started That Dad Guy, I created a That Dad Guy stamp, and I sent those off into the world. Now, some of you have them already. But I created a second one when the program said it was coming to an end. And so I quickly run out there and got another one. This one has post-crossing on it. It has YouTube. It has my logo on it. I think it best represents me and whatever that means. And only friends are going to get these because there are a limited number of them. So if I sent them to you, it means I cared about you enough that I wanted you to have a copy. If you haven't gotten one yet, it doesn't mean you're not a friend. It just means that maybe you got the first generation and I didn't send you a second generation one. They are limited numbers, and I've had people request them because they know about them. So I have sent those off to people too. So this Canadian stamp that has my logo, has the post-crossing logo, has YouTube's logo on it, I think right now best describes me. So yeah. Thank you, Smokey, for 5 great questions. Thank you also for doing another episode of Stamp vs. Stamp with me. I had so much fun going through my father's stamp collections, looking for things, searching the internet, going through Scott catalogs, trying to figure out what would best answer your questions. Yeah, if you're watching this now, make sure at the end of this video, go over to Snail Mail with Smokey, look for that episode 2 of Stamp vs. Stamp, and check out Smokey's. You'll see the questions I asked him and how he went about coming up with answers for his. So, yeah, I'm super excited about this series. I can't wait to do another one. I had so much fun putting this together, and I love these collaborations. So thanks again, Smokey, and thank you guys for tuning in to watch. I look forward to hearing your comments on it, giving me more information on the stamps that I selected, and maybe giving me ideas of other things that you want to see Smokey and I do in these Stamp versus Stamp. This is Battle Royale, if you will, of stamp enthusiasts. So thanks a lot, and have a magical week. What, Polo? You say like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?